Okay, so we're bowing. Ready? Kunyi. Thank you. Just rotate the arms forwards. Let's go get these arms working because obviously, as it's a punching lesson, you need those shoulders and the elbows to be nice and warm. And backwards. One up and one down. Good. And reaching forwards. Reaching up. And reaching back. And sharp. Rotate the waist. Change direction. Good. 2.5 shoulder widths, one to the right, one to the left. And reaching down on each side. And turning to the right, hold for 4. And change. So we still need to warm the legs up to a certain degree because we are going to be stepping forwards and backwards. Spot technique. And again, change. Change, pushing the back foot down. And again, change. And sharp. Good. So stretching. Shaking the legs off, shaking the arms. And then we go one up and one down. Out and in. Good. Okay. Hello, stance. To me. Let's just go and so dirigi. To me. Let's get those arms working. Single punch. Hala. Two. Set. Net. Dos. Yos. Elbow. Yel. Ayo. Yel. 2 punches. Ha. Two. Set. Net. Dos. Yos. Elbow. Yel. Ayo. Yel. And push. Good. Okay, give yourself maybe a couple of steps so you can step forwards and backwards in a walking stance, parallel stance. You mean? So forward with the right first because we're attacking. So we should always attack with the right first and block with the left first. So go forward with your right leg, just a walking stance, front punch. Middle. So center line. So that's classed as a front punch. Two. Backwards. Two. Forward. Two. And paro. Good. So that's an obverse punch. So as you may know, depending on what grade you are, an obverse punch is when you're punching with the same side as the leg that you're stepping forward or the same side as the stance, because sometimes you might be in a particular stance. For instance, if I do a left L stance, my left leg is going to be back. But the reason it's a left L stance is because there's more weight on the back leg. So if I did an obverse punch, it would be punching with the same hand as the stance of the leg. So you can't just say an obverse punch is when you step forward with the same leg as the hand. That's okay for walking stance or fixed stance or any stances where you've got 50-50 weight distribution. Whichever leg's forward, that's the one of the stance. But L stance, vertical stance, X stance, it can be different. So now let's step forward and we're going to vary that. So we're going to do an obverse punch in walking stance, but we're going to do a low punch, we're going to do a middle punch, and we're going to do a high punch. Not all one after the other, but as we go through. To me, so step forward, let's do a low punch. So it's level with our belly button. Two. Backwards. Two. set. Good. Now middle punch. Hana. Shoulder. Two. Backwards. Hana. Two. Now a high punch. Hana. Level the eyes. Two. Backwards. Hana. Two. And poro. Shut. Pretty straightforward. Low punch, middle punch, high punch. Now we're going to do a reverse punch. We're going to do a reverse middle punch. Chumbi. So that means we're going to step forward into walking stance with our left leg, and we're going to do a middle punch with our right. So that becomes a reverse punch. It's still a front punch because it's level with the center of the body. Chumbi. So give yourself some space, step forwards. Hana. Two. Backwards. Hana. Two. Forward. Hana. Two. Now we go backwards, low reverse punch. Hana. Two. Forward. Hana. Two. Backwards, high reverse punch. Hana. Two. Forward. Hana. Two. Backward. Hana. Two. And paro. Sure. Excellent. So that's a front punch, obverse and reverse. Low, middle, high. Okay? So that would be to attack an opponent at a distance. Obviously a 1 arm's length distance. Now, if our opponent was slightly closer than that, then we could do a different stance, yes. So we'll now do L stance punch. Now, because, as I just mentioned, L stance means whichever stance it is on the back leg, because you've got more weight on that leg. So the reverse and the obverse punch will be slightly different in relation to the leg that's forwards. Okay? So let's step forward, Chumbi. So you're going to go forwards with your left leg, and you're going to do an obverse punch, which means you're going to punch with your right. Now, where we determine what angle we punch at is to do with the front foot. So the front foot should be 15 degrees, okay? 15 degrees in. So that means we punch 15 degrees. So in other words, we're punching parallel to the front foot. Okay? So step forward, punch. Hana. Good. Backwards. Hana. Two. Good. Forward. Hana. Two. Backward. Hana. Two. Excellent. And poro. Shot. Now, when I just said about a punch being an arm's length, if our opponent decided to move an angle and slightly closer to us, then instead of doing this walking stance obverse punch, we could do an L stance obverse punch. Because you see, if I look from the side, this would be where my fist ends up. And if I was in L stance, my fist would end up slightly back and at a slight angle. Okay? So again, depending on where our opponent is, depending on what technique we do, what punch we do, what stance we use. So now let's do a reverse punch in L stance. So yes, that means we are going to step forwards with our left leg, and we're going to do a left punch. So that becomes an obverse punch in L stance. Chumbi, stepping forwards, and hana. Two. Backwards. Hana. Two. Forwards. Hana. Two. Good. Backwards. Hana. Two. And poro. Shot. Fantastic. Good. So we've got a walking stance obverse punch, a walking stance reverse punch, an L stance obverse punch, an L stance reverse punch, but understanding the differences between those two techniques depending on the stance, okay? Because walking stance, right leg forward is a right stance, L stance, right leg forward is a left L stance, because that determines how much the weight is on, okay? Brilliant. Now this time, we're going to do a fixed stance obverse punch and a fixed stance reverse punch. Now this is the same as a walking stance, because in fixed stance you have 50-50 weight distribution. So whichever leg's forward, that's what determines what stance it is. So we're going to step forward with the right leg and do a right punch in a fixed stance. That becomes an obverse punch. Okay, so ready, So give yourself space to do 2 punches forward, 2 punches back. Horan. Good. 2. Backwards. Horan. 2. Forward. Horan. 2. Backward. Horan. 2. And paro. Shot. Good. So that's pretty straightforward. Just a front punch or L stance. Now, when you're doing L stance, your body is half facing. When you're doing fixed stance, your body is half facing. L stance, obverse punch, or an L stance, reverse punch. Okay? So that means if I'm going to step forwards and I'm going to do an L stance, obverse punch, then it will be the backhand. If I step forward and do an L stance, reverse punch, then it will be the front hand. Okay? So that's the terminology. Let's move on. Now, if the person or the target was a bit closer, then instead of doing a forward front punch, we could, as I said, do an obverse punch in L stance or fixed stance, but again, that's at a slight angle. If the target was in front of us, but it was a bit closer, then we could do a crescent punch, okay? So you see, instead of the fist being where it is there, when we do a crescent punch, it comes back slightly, but it's also attacking a different target area on your opponent. So parallel ready stance, chumbi. So we're going to step forwards with your left leg, and we're going to do a right crescent punch, all right? So that means as your fist comes round, your little finger is higher than your thumb. Okay, ready? Hana. Good. 2. Backwards. Hana. 2. Forward. Hana. 2. Good. Backwards. Hana. 2. Bringing it right round to the center line. Hana. 2. Backwards. Hana. 2. Brilliant. And shut. So that's a crescent punch. Now, if the target or the opponent was even closer, we could then still do a walking stance, but we could now do a turning punch. Okay? Turning punch here or turning punch here. So we could do a high turning punch or a middle turning punch. So stepping forwards, again, step forwards with your left leg. So we can do a turning punch with the right. Let's do a middle, so level the shoulder. So 1 and hana. Good. Backwards. Hana. 2. Forward. Hana. 2. Good. Now if you're looking from the side, this is the position here. So front punch, crescent punch, turning punch. High, middle. So you see it's slightly closer than a crescent punch. Let's try that again. To be. So forward with your left, reverse punch. Hana. 1, 2. Still high. Hana. Set. Backwards, middle. Hana. 2. Set. Forward. Hana. 2. Backwards, low. Hana. 2. Forward. Hana. 2. Backwards. Hana. And paro. Good. Now we could do a middle obverse turning punch. Jimmy. Good. Hana. Backwards. Hana. 2. Forward. Hana. 2. Backwards. Hana. 2. And paro. Sure. Good. Can do some of these techniques in obviously different stances. So we can do a turning punch in a parallel stance. Okay. We could do a turning punch in an X stance this way. We could do a crescent punch in X stance. We could do a crescent punch in a vertical stance. So there are other stances that we can do these particular punches in, but we look at the punches rather than how many we can do in what stance, all right? Because it's just going to be duplicated. So I'm trying to think and go through the punches rather than the punches in each particular stance, all right? Now, if they're even closer, yes, we can use the elbows, but that becomes striking or thrusting, but we're still going to punch. So now we can do what we call an angle punch. All right. So if you imagine somebody was trying to come in with a rugby tackle, so they're getting really close, then you could do an angle punch. Okay. So now a front punch, completely extended. Crescent punch, slightly bent, but up the other way. Turning punch to the center, even closer. Now an angle punch comes right across to the opposite chest line. So it comes round this way in a real tight angle like that. Okay, so we're going to step forwards from here. We're going to go forward with your left leg and punch with your right. Okay, forward punch. Hana. Good. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forward. Hana. Pull. Now, do you see a problem with this? This could be in the way, couldn't it? Yeah? So if I'm attacking, say somebody's coming in this way, would they come in where my leg was? Possibly not. Now, if they were sort of coming at this angle here, yeah, and then I did this, maybe they would fall onto my leg before I got a chance to punch them, before they could grab me. So maybe it would be better to do an obverse punch. So then they're in this gap here. As they come here, I'm taking my leg out of the way, so my body goes where it gets out of the way of what they're thinking, where they're going for, and as they come through, we do the angle punch. Okay, so let's do an obverse punch. To me, step forwards with your right leg and punch with your right, coming right across to your left shoulder. To me, hana. Good. Pull. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forward. Hana. Pull. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forward. Hana. Pull. Good. Now looking from the side. Hana. See, really tight. Ready? Hana. Good. Again. Hana. So it doesn't go like that, it comes around at a tight angle and it stays tight. Okay, so that's an angle punch. So let's have a quick recap. So front punch, crescent punch, turning punch, angle punch. Okay, now we can do most of those as well with the knuckles. All right, so we could do a long fist punch. So we're using these knuckles here. Yeah, so that's the shape of the fist, like that. So instead of coming this way for that fist, we only bend the first two knuckles and bring this fist, or the thumb, in the side here. So we could be using just this one, we could be using this, or we could be using all of these knuckles depending on where we are attacking. Okay, so it's a long fist punch. So let's do forwards, walking stance, high, long fist punch. To me, right leg, right punch. Ready? Hana. Good. Pull. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forward. Hana. Pull. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forward. Hana. Pull. So make sure you get that right, rather than all the way around this way. Just the front knuckles here. Backwards. Hana. And haro. Sure. So that's a long fist punch. Okay. Now with a crescent, we could do a 4-knuckle fist crescent punch. So this is coming round this way. So this is the shape. You can see that. So we're using this knuckle here. So this 4-knuckle. We do that and we push the thumb in this little recess here. So we're pushing the index finger here, or we can also bring it across here, but this is the better position here. Yeah, so we're just using that knuckle. Now this would be attacking the softer part in the temple, right in the center of the temple here. Could be the fulcrum here, could be the angle or the mandible. This pressure point underneath the, below the earlobe, where the jaw hinges. So there's different points. If the into the floating ribs, into the rib cage, possibly the sternum. It's just like a stun, if you like. Chumbi. So let's step forward from here. Right leg, right. 4-knuckle crescent punch. Hana. Good. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forward. Hana. Pull. Backwards. Hana. Pull. Forwards. Hana. Pull. Now we can do a similar action, but now we're using the thumb knuckle. Okay, so all we do now is if we were doing a normal fist, it would be like this. Now if we bring that there, we're now going to be using the knuckle of the thumb. So the first knuckle here is going to be used as an attacking tool. Again, that's going to be in the temple, the fulcrum, possibly the angle of the actual mandible here, again on the sternum, floating ribs. So we're going to come around like this, inward, knuckle fist punch. Should be forward with the right, 1, hana. Good. 2, prepare it first. So prepare and 1, but not tight, just prepare and then tight, backwards, hana. 2, set, forward, hana. 2, backwards, hana. 2, forward, hana. 2, good. Now similar, but it's an outward thumb knuckle fist punch. Okay, so we're going outward this way. So it might be that the opponent is at a slight angle, and we want to attack out this way. Boom. Similar to a blocking movement, but you're going to twist all the way around. This knuckle is sticking out this way, so you're using that here again on the temple, the fulcrum, the mandible, possibly even the throat here, the sternum, floating ribs. Okay? Chumi. Now here, like this, not like a normal fist. So you have to prepare before you do the technique. Let's try that again. Ready? Right first. 1. It's almost like a middle and forearm block, but it doesn't have to be so much emphasis on that cross. Backwards. 2. Forward. 2. Backwards. 2. Forward. 2. Good. And show. Now we've got a middle knuckle fist punch. Okay. But before we do that, we're going to look at a vertical punch and an upset punch, because then we can incorporate those middle knuckle fist into vertical punches, upset punches, and so on. So let's do a single middle vertical punch. To me, so we're going to step forward with our left leg. So we're going to punch with our right. So this one is a variation of not attacking the shoulder line or level the shoulder as a middle, but attacking where the solar plexus is. Forwards, 1. Good. So attacking on either the chest line or the shoulder line. Can also be the center line. Let's do the shoulder line. Backwards. 2. Now let's go chest line. 2. Let's go center line. 2. Forward. Now we're going to do a high vertical punch this way. Ready? Give yourself space. So left leg, right punch. So reverse. 2. Set. Backwards. 2. Set. And poro. Now, while we're on a vertical punch, we just need to explain. A normal punch will have a 180 degrees twist. Okay? So it'd be from the hip, slight lateral movement, 180 degrees twist. So 180 degrees twist at the moment of impact to create this corkscrew effect. Except for a side punch and a vertical punch. So the vertical punch will come from the hip, yes. but it will only turn 90 degrees this way. Okay, so there's not a 180 degree twist. We can't start 180 degrees the other way to be able to do a 180 degree twist for a vertical punch. It's impossible. It's just not possible. Some of you that may be hyper flexible, you might be able to actually do it, but generally speaking, we can't do it. There's too much tension in what we're doing. So let's go forward again from here. High, vertical punch. Single. Two. Backwards. Two. Set. Now we're going to do a twin vertical punch. High. Good. Two. Backwards. Two. Middle vertical punch. Single. Two. And paro. Good. Now we're going to do an L stance vertical punch, which will be obverse this way. Forward. Backwards. Two. Forward. Two. Now we're going to go backwards. L stance. Twin vertical punch here. Ready? So from there. Good. Two. Two people. Forward. Two. Backwards. Two. Forward, twin, middle, vertical punch. Again. Backwards. Two. Set. Set. Forward. And paro. Shot. Good. This time we're going to do a high vertical punch, but we're going to use the middle knuckle. All right. So a high vertical punch with a middle knuckle fist, or a middle knuckle fist, high vertical punch, depending on how you want to look at the terminology. Parallel stance to me. So we're going to step forwards with your right leg, punch with your right. So you see the elbows bent this way, knuckles sticking out, level the eyes here, or actually it should be level with the fulcrum, because that's the point of focus that we're going for. Okay? To me, let's try that again. So right leg, two, backwards, two, forward, two. Let's do reverse, backwards, two, forward, two, backwards, two, and paro, shot. Excellent. Now we're going to do a middle knuckle high punch. So I just want you to see the difference between a middle knuckle high vertical punch and a middle knuckle high punch. The difference is in the elbow. So now we're going to step forward, walking stance, middle knuckle high punch. So you see this would be a middle knuckle high punch here, a middle knuckle vertical punch here. Okay? So let's try that again, ready? Forward with the right, and 1, 2, set, backwards, 2, and paro, shot. Fantastic. Now we're going to do an upset punch, okay? Upset punch in walking stance. To me, so we go forward with the left, upset punch with the right. Ready? Forwards. 2, backwards, 2, forward, 2. So this should be done in a circular motion, right? But not a circular motion this way, obviously. A circular motion this way. So it has to go in a straight line. So if you're looking from the side, I've already done my stance. I'm going to go this way, down, straight. When we finish, this should be slightly higher than the elbow. 1, this way. So let's try that again. Ready? Left leg, right punch. 2, backwards. 2, forward. Now we're going to do a twin upset punch. 2 opponents. Good. And again, forward. Backwards. 2, forward. 2. Now as we're on a twin, we're going to do a twin front punch, backwards, Horan. And again, Horan. Forward, Horan. Toe, backwards, Horan. Toe, and poro. Now, we have two similar techniques with that middle knuckle upset punch. We have two terminology in the book. We have two types of terminology which is written down in different patterns. One of the patterns, it says a middle knuckle middle punch. Now, if you go to the encyclopedia and you look up middle knuckle middle punch, it says middle knuckle middle punch done in an uppercut motion and no higher than the solar plexus. And then in another pattern, you have a middle knuckle upset punch. Now, and it doesn't mention anything about in an uppercut motion. One is going forwards this way, and one is going slightly uppercut. All right, so we're going to try and treat those at the moment as two techniques. So we've just done this upset punch with the middle knuckle. Now we're going to do a middle knuckle middle punch in an uppercut motion. Can be, so step forward with your left again. Now it goes round, slightly up this way, as opposed to straight this way. See the difference? So in my interpretation, an upset would be this way. Okay? But an upset punch in an uppercut motion, for me, will be this way. So they're different, but it doesn't go any higher than the solar plexus. One. That's one, and that's two. So you see the difference? This is an upset punch in my eyes, here, and this is a middle knuckle middle punch done in an uppercut motion this way. So let's step forward now, a middle knuckle middle punch. So now we're going to go in an uppercut motion. One, this way, Horan. Forward, two, backwards, Horan. Two. So it's not an upward, it's just this way. Forwards, Horan. Backwards, Horan. Two, and poro, shot. Good. So we've got upset punch, middle knuckle upset punch, middle knuckle middle punch. We've got a vertical punch, middle knuckle vertical punch. We have a crescent punch. We have a four knuckle crescent punch. Okay. We could have a four knuckle twin crescent punch attacking both sides of the temple. All right. So again, we can go from a front punch to a twin front punch. We could go to a vertical punch to a twin vertical punch. We could do a crescent punch to a twin crescent punch. We could do a four knuckle crescent punch to a twin four knuckle crescent punch, or a four knuckle twin crescent punch. We could do a middle knuckle upset punch. We could do a twin upset punch with the middle knuckle. We could do an upset punch. We can do a twin upset punch. We could do a middle vertical punch. We could do a twin middle vertical punch. In L stance, in walking stance. We could do it in X stance. We could do it in parallel stance. Now we're going to do a side punch. Is when your body is side facing and you are attacking the flank on the side here. So let's look at a sitting stance side punch. So if we're going to step forward with the right, one this way. Now again, it's going to be, we can do it. We can turn 180 degrees. But you've got quite a lot of tension going on here to be able to actually do that side punch with any force and relaxation. So as we step forward, one, side fist face down, punch this way. So you go single step, backward motion, continuous, punch. Stepping away, good, and poro. I think what we'll do is we'll go to the right, we'll come back, we'll go to the left, and come back. Ready? To the right. Ha! And poro. To the left. Ha! Poro. Ha! Poro. Now you look. Ha! Poro. Two. Poro. Set. Poro. Head. And poro. Now, when we punch to the side, say we did a twin side strike, if you like, we don't use the terminology of a twin side punch. We use a terminology possibly of a horizontal punch this way. However, we can't use the terminology of a horizontal punch, it being horizontal, because we actually have a horizontal punch, which is this. So this would be a twin side punch, okay? So if I was standing here and I step back, twin side punch here. Okay? Excellent. So from there, let's do a horizontal punch. So a horizontal punch basically is a side punch and an angle punch, both together. Yeah, so this would be an angle punch and this would be a side punch. If we do them together, it becomes a horizontal punch. So it's its own punch in its own right. So we have a horizontal punch. We don't have a middle or a low or a high, because at the end of the day, horizontal means it has to be level with the horizon. So we can't do a low horizontal punch because it will not be horizontal. We can't do a high horizontal punch because it won't be horizontal. It has to be level with the shoulders, so it's its own punch on its own. Just like a double fist low punch. Okay, not just low, I mean a double fist punch. So you've got a double fist low punch, a double fist middle punch, and a double fist high punch. So very similar to horizontal. So okay, this could be a low double fist punch. We can have a middle double fist punch and a high double fist punch. The slight difference between a middle horizontal punch here, or a horizontal punch, and a middle double fist punch is look at the position of my hands. Yeah, if I'm in an L stance here. And even if I was in sitting stance, I couldn't really do a double fist punch because this can't go round enough. So we're in L stance, a low double fist punch, middle double fist punch, high double fist punch. Anyhow, let's have a little practice of that horizontal punch. 준비? And we've nearly run out of time, so a couple of minutes. Ready? So we're going to go to your right first. So you're going to go 1, 2, sitting stance, and back to your left. Halan. Haro to your right. Halan. Haro to your left. Halan. Haro to your right. Halan. Haro to your left. Halan. Haro to your right. Halan. And haro. Finish there as far as the punch is concerned. Please maybe rewind this, go over it again, just double check on those different punches because we have covered quite a lot today, a lot to take in. We could spend maybe a month on punches and a month on strikes and a month on thrusts and everything else. Okay, so hopefully this has given you a bit more of an insight into the fact of how big Taekwondo is and how many techniques there are outside of the patterns. And we have lots of fundamental exercises as well outside of the patterns. Okay, so we're going to finish there. So face this way, 차렷, 균형, and hustle.